Hi, everyone, and welcome to Personal Learning, the first introductory webcast. And as you can see, my camera is not working. Thank you, Cisco. So I'm going to jump right into sharing the screen so that you'll have something to see and not just black space. So of course, this is the way these online courses always work. You never know what's going to happen until stuff happens at the last minute. So we are broadcasting live. We are also saving. We're saving the recording of this current broadcast, and I'm just trying to get my my slides up and working, and I'm having trouble with my slides too, of course. So yeah, let's have lots of fun with technology just to start the day. Come on, slides, come on. There we go. Now to share. Sharing slides. Ta-da. So, okay, now I had trouble actually moving the slides. So, okay, so you should be now seeing the personal learning slide. And it's saying that we have 0 viewers. So that's interesting because it should be more. Okay, that was an interesting effect too. So I'm just going to close that for a second here, and I'm going to reload the events page in my web browser just to see what's happening. And it does say that I'm live. Would be very helpful to have available later as an MP3, says B. Bell. I will do that. Good idea, and I will do that. I will make it available as an MP3, especially since there's no real video except for the slide. That's probably a pretty good idea. So let me begin then, and knowing that even if there's no actual people in the video session, although it says I have 7 people watching here. So that's something at least. Let me begin, first of all, by welcoming you all to the personal learning course, Technology Glitches Notwithstanding. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And let's see. To list all of it. Okay, so I've also started up the group chat on the right-hand side, at least of my screen. So if you have access to that, you can also type your comments in, and I'll be watching them as I present. So, and now we've gone up to 7, down to 5. So we got some viewers. So, okay, so the purpose of this webcast, such as it is to provide an overview of what we're up to in the personal learning course. We'll provide the content, the structure, how we're going about things. And there will also be an opportunity for you to jump in if you wish. There should be a way for me to be able to invite you here. So if you send me an email to my address, stephen@downs.ca, if you or ask to join if you're in the chat, then by all means, we'll add you to the Hangout, and we'll have a real person inside the Hangout, better than me, who's simply a black box at the moment. So let's see if I can move my slide forward. Yes, I can. So here we go. We have a 7-week course. We're currently in week 1. This is the introduction to the course, how this course works, testing the technology, shaking out all of the mistakes, of which there will no doubt be many, such as my camera not working when it was working yesterday. Then for weeks 2 to 7, so that's beginning next Monday, we'll actually have the content of the course or the topics that we're covering in the course. This is what was in the outline, beginning with content knowledge versus practice, then looking at the case of the CMOOC or connectivist MOOC, then looking at personal learning environments, a history. I was just in a Twitter chat, and somebody in there asked, after 10 years, what's left of the concept of the personal learning environment? And I think, well, obviously, by the fact that I'm having this course, I think that the concept is still alive, but that it's really hard. And so we'll look at the history of PLEs. We'll look at LPSS, which is the Learning Performance Support Systems program that I'm involved in. I'm actually looking at the camera as I say this. Look at the personal learning assistant, and then applications and extensions to the concept of the personal learning environment. So we're beginning the course by using OpenEdX, and OpenEdX will be used throughout the length of the course. But that's just as a starting place. It's a way to start off by using what we're talking about, the traditional learning management system, the use of educational technology to present content and propagate content. But we're going to go beyond that. We're going to move on to talk about Grasshopper and the history of educational technology as related to MOOCs. The idea of Grasshopper was to address certain weaknesses and certain gaps in traditional learning management systems. And I would say that even in the case of this course, I'm using Grasshopper to address gaps in how OpenEdX functions. Then we'll move beyond that, and we'll look at the work that we've been doing in the Learning and Performance Support Systems program. LPSS.me is a first generation PLE. I say that because there's a lot of things that we'd like it to do that it doesn't do. It certainly does not capture all of what we had in mind for the concept, but it's a start. And we'll look at that, and we'll look at what it can do and how it supports some of the concepts. But as we go to the end of the 7 weeks, we'll look at a phase 2 system that we're designing here at NRC that from the ground up is individual and social and distributed and networked, and we call it ARC. That's just a code name. There'll probably be a branded name for it whenever it comes out sometime in the future, but that's what we're calling it now. So as you can see here from this slide, we have an evolution of the content of the course from traditional content knowledge and practice through the MOOC era and into the personal learning era. And we have a progression through different technologies in the course from the very traditional content-based to the connectivist MOOC through to the personal learning environment. The idea of the course will be to show that how we build toward the concept of the personal learning environment by building on each of these technologies and adding different capacities and different approaches. We'll use other technologies in the course as well. These technologies will include Hangouts on Air, which we're using right now. We'll use Twitter, we'll use WordPress for the blogs, and we may use more things as well. What will we use really depends on what people want to use. And of course, I'm a bit of an opportunist when it comes to building these sorts of systems. And so if I see something that catches my interest sometime in the next 7 weeks, I'll add it on and we'll experiment with it. So here's the weekly plan for the course. Each week, We'll have an intro video on Monday and some readings for that week. These are readings that I'm suggesting, or I might actually write something, but generally I'll just suggest something. The intro video will introduce the topic and cover some of the main ideas. On Tuesdays, we'll have a Hangout on air like this, but with video at 12 noon. And with video and hopefully with guests. We have no guests in this, but I'd like the Hangout on air, Hangouts on air, Hangout on airs. No, it's got to be Hangouts on air. I'd like those to involve people who are participating in the course. So again, if you want to be part of this course on the video side and have a conversation, interact, talk about the topics, let me know and I'll get you in here and you can be having these discussions live on air. Wednesdays are days for synchronous or asynchronous discussions and assignments. You can use the chat area in the Open edX environment as well. The assignments, we'll talk about those in a bit, but you can work on assignments on Wednesdays as well. And we'll be talking about that. Thursday, there'll be another video typically and more discussion. Try to bring the concepts that we're looking at during that week to some sort of reasonable, I don't want to say conclusion or end, but to lead the discussion forward in a logical direction. Then Friday, we'll wrap it up with a Hangout on air again at 12 noon Eastern time. And this will be for discussion, comments. I will look at what you've done and bring that forward, and we'll all have a look at it. And again, you can join in and we can have a discussion about the topic for the week. So that's the plan. Plus, every weekday, I'll take weekends off, but every weekday, which is to say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there will be a daily newsletter. It will come out in the afternoon, typically, and it will contain course announcements. It will contain links to the resources and the videos, including this video, for example, recordings of the Hangouts on air. And it will include your contributions. You've already seen that yesterday's included the tweets that you tweeted using the course tag, and I'll continue with that, but I'll also be adding your contributions that you contribute as parts of the assignments. Now, this course is being conducted at a busy time for me. Yay. So here's where I'm going to be in the different weeks of the course. So week 1, that's this week, I'm in Ottawa. Week 2, I'm in Istanbul. 3, I'm in Moncton. 4, I'm in San Diego. 5, I'm in Ottawa again. And 6, I'm in Toronto. And there should be a week 7 in there somewhere. And I'm not sure where I'll be that week. So expect schedule adjustments due to travel. Your best bet is to follow the newsletter. If you read the newsletter every day, when it comes in, you'll be kept completely up to date with the course. If you miss the newsletter, don't worry. There's archives of the newsletter, and the link to the archive is at the top of every newsletter. So anytime you get a newsletter, you can click on that link and see all of the newsletters. So here we have the Hangouts. This is today's Hangout. We might try other services besides Google Hangouts. I was talking with people from Big Blue Button. We might try that. We might try Connect. We might try, WebEx. Whatever seems like fun. But I want to make sure that the Hangout stuff works first so that we can have sessions where we know the recordings work and they can be available for viewing later on. The Hangouts, as I said, will be recorded, saved, and available. They'll be on YouTube. They'll be mounted in the OpenNetX environment, and of course, there will be a link to them in the daily newsletter. And as suggested at the beginning of this, I'll also make MP3s available, and that way you'll be able to listen to the Hangout content by audio. And I think, actually, as I think about it, it's probably a good idea to make MP3 versions of the videos available as well. So why not? The method's going to be more or less the same. I'm going to give a short presentation in the Hangout, not go on for an hour. I won't even go on for half an hour. It'll look a lot like these slides. These slides will be available after the Hangout in the usual places. You'll be able to view the Hangout in YouTube, but as I've been saying along here, you're also welcome to join in the Hangout as it's proceeding. Finally, assignments. Everybody's curious about assignments. Now, if you want a certificate, and I'm still figuring out how edX makes certificates, but that's okay. I know it does, so I can figure this out, and hopefully I'll have this figured out by the end of this week. If you want the certificate, which because it will have my name on it and this course's name on it, will be a valuable addition to your resume, then you should contribute to the course. And there's 2 ways to contribute to the course, and both of these ways will be starting up next week. So you don't need to worry about doing anything this week. Next week, the first way to contribute to the course is to find and recommend relevant resources for each of the weekly topics. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a form in OpenEdX, and what you do is you enter the name of the resource and the description and the URL, and then that will be shared with people in the rest of the course. Now, OpenEdX doesn't support this function, so I'm going to have to create that function for OpenEdX. It shouldn't be too hard. I know I can make this work, and if I can make this work, then you can have your resources submitted and shared with everybody else in the course. The second way to contribute to the course is to use a blog like WordPress or Blogger or something to write responses to the core questions posed each week. I'll provide a video either later this week or early next week that explains how to set up your account, how to use a tag, and how to let me know where your blog is so that we can capture the information from your blog, and again, share it with people in OpenEdX. So that's the course. That's the overview. I don't want to move on to the next slide because that's just a blank slide and you'll just get black on your black background. So that's everything I have to say. I still don't have anybody in the chat area, and I don't know if that's because people don't know where it is or they're not in the Hangout, etc. So let's go to the event page and I'll see if there's anybody in there. Well, we have John McNess asking 11 minutes ago, what would a non-personal learning environment be? Well, the answer to that, if I had to venture an answer to that, is something like OpenEdX or the typical, this XMOOC kind of environments, or the traditional learning management systems, where the environment hasn't been prepared for any particular person or any person in particular. It's just one environment, and everybody uses the same environment. It's very impersonal, very non-personal. So that would be my best effort at that particular question. So, and that's all the discussion that I see on the event page. Let's check my email. and we're sort of winding down here. And so I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that nobody who wanted to participate is left out of participating. And I don't see anybody who has sent me an email. So I'm going to wrap up this Hangout here at this point, and hopefully next time we'll have video, and so it'll be a much more interesting Hangout. And so thanks, welcome to the course, and I'll see you next time on air. So bye everyone.